So after about 1,000 miles and 3 days with a Volvo S60 T5, I'm left with some mixed feelings. Um, it's a much better car than I thought it would be based upon my first drive of the car, much shorter drive, uh, pretty soon after it launched. But I'm left wondering at the price, the new price specifically, if it's really justifiable. Uh, First, the good. Great highway car. If you want to do 50 to 110, this is a great car to do it in. The motor is probably the smoothest, most compelling 2-liter T I've personally experienced. It's the least objectionable of the 2-liter Ts, and coming from me, that's saying a lot because I really don't like a turbocharged 4-cylinder. The throttle, the transmission programming, the powertrain really is hard to fault if you're okay with a 2-liter 4-cylinder gas engine in 2025. But that's the other problem. Sorry to jump ahead. Hello, Lucid. But a 2-liter 4-cylinder for low 40s to mid 60s is a hard pill to swallow for me and possibly for some others. Going back to the good, of course, Volvo has great seats. The design is something that you appreciate every time you look at it. You don't feel embarrassed walking up to it, away from it, being seen in it, which for a car snob like me is saying quite something. And the car is it's just really easy to use. But I keep coming back to, is this that much better than a Civic Hybrid? Or even just a standard Civic? I mean, is it worth 2x what those cars are worth? And I'm not really convinced it is. There are things the Civic does better. I'm not saying the Civic is the best car on earth. It's just this car was a bit reminiscent of that car, but I was left wanting for some of the Civic's qualities, I guess you'd say. Another thing that's good about this one, the UX, it's almost oversimplified, like too simple. You were wanting for some more information than it was able to give you at some points, but it was fairly easy to use. I think a little bit of familiarity with the car and you start to figure it out pretty quickly. The interior materials continue to bother me. I remember driving this car back to back with a Mazda 3 back when it launched, and I came away thinking the Mazda 3 was a nicer car to drive and a nicer car to be sitting in terms of materials. And again, at the price, it's a tough pill to swallow. And the Chinese background of this car doesn't come through in terms of things like structure or driving experience. I mean, it is kind of anodyne and generic and, doesn't have a lot of personality to it other than just competence and a willingness to obediently do your bidding, But I'd say the interior materials, again, if this was a 20-some thousand car, I'd be fine with that. But at 40 to 60, not that there are a lot of cars in the market with a lot better these days, but at 40 to 60, it's a bit of a different ballgame. Ride quality, surprisingly good despite the 19-inch wheels. The ride quality is, I'd say, impressive for being on 19s. I'd like to try the car again on a smaller diameter wheel. Visibility, I'd say it's strong for 2025, but that's not saying much. It's still, I keep asking myself, is this a Volvo? You know, not is this a good car? It's a competent car. It's a good car. Is this a great car? Slightly below great, unless your primary use is just bombing down freeways, which it's really wonderful at. But is it a Volvo? Is it a good Volvo? Is it a great Volvo? I keep coming back to that. And ergonomically, yeah, I feel like I'm in a Volvo. But when I start to touch things, the sensations, the sounds, what this car makes me do is miss the 850. The 850 to me was, how do you take Volvo traits and put them in something modern? I was hoping for a little more of the 850 in this S60, and I think that's why I keep on feeling disappointed. Now, let's think about what was the 850. Dominantly, it was that soulful, tuneful crooning inline five, and it was a soulful in tune, perfectly weighted, direct, meaty steering feel. If this car had those two traits, I would forgive any other things that it had, in the same way that when the 850 was out, you could forgive the fact that it felt a little bit crashy over bumps or limited in travel, or the structure didn't feel all that solid because it was rather dated when it came out. But the pairing of that motor and that steering made that car something just delightful to be in and to drive. And I think that that's what this generation of Volvo is missing. Even if you go back one generation to the Ford products, they had, at least some of them had, inline fives, inline sixes. I think Polestar Volvo needs to think about those qualities a little bit more and the on paper stuff a little bit less. This engine is strong, efficient, willing, smooth, all those things. But it sounds like almost nothing at most moments in time, and it sounds like everything else when it sounds like anything at all. The steering, quite aloof. Neither of the weightings that you can select are ideal. I think it's a car that's like 85% of the way there, and it's one of those cars that I want to be involved in development sooner, so I can get the car to 95 or 100% of what it could be before a mid-cycle refresh, before a discontinuation. So yeah, really surprisingly competent car, but it's something that I would think of as like scoop it up used with a good history when the depreciation is hit and it comes down in price to more of the level it feels like it's worth. Like, to me, this is a 30,000 or below experience, not a $40,000 to $65,000 experience. So I hope that's helpful to you if you're considering a Volvo S60. If you have one of these, if you've spent a lot of time with one of these, please let me know where you think I'm wrong, or where I may have gotten it right after my 1,000 miles with the car. Anyway, be safe out there.